when I first started events, everyone said to me, what's your dream? What is your dream event? My dream event is to host a huge mass event at the O2. That is my dream event. Like what Pete Tong does with the orchestra.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
From collecting glasses in local bars, booking massive headliners.
Yes.
Name me some of the names of the big artists that you've booked.
This year we've had Solardo, Dimitri from Paris, Todd Terry.
What are your 3 top tips for me?
My 3 top tips would be definitely listen to people, take advice on board, build a good team. You're only as good as your team. And the third thing I would say is don't ever be put off. Just keep going, and never be put off by bad experiences.
Mr. Josh Hodges, welcome to Back to CJ's podcast.
Back to CJ's.
Well, welcome to the studio, mate. How we been?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm loving the name as well. Loving the name. Last time we spoke, you didn't have a name.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, there was a lot of ideas in the pipeline. We finally settled on it. Yeah. But
no, I like it. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me, mate.
No, Ledge, it's a pleasure. So for those just tuning in, Josh is the owner of La Fiesta, Hush Events, and he's a guy that I've known for over 10 years now. We both started kind of in the same area when I was playing in clubs, and Josh was a club promoter. So Josh, from collecting glasses in local bars to booking massive headliners.
Yes.
Name me some of the names of the big artists that you've booked.
Do you know what?
You put in what's your top 3 artists?
It's crazy. We're so blessed to actually have been able to book some amazing people. Probably this year we've had Solardo, Dimitri from Paris, Todd Terry.
Wow.
They're probably
big
3 people that were definitely on the bucket list for La Fiesta to book, so I'm really happy that we got them. We've had Richie Ahmed this year a couple of times, like another great booking. It's great. But listen, like me and you were saying off camera, it's all good having them, and it's all good having your residents as well, because you've just got that core of great people.
Yes, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. It's not just about the big headliners that you book, right? You've had a team that have worked with you for years, right? And
100%.
it comes back to, it doesn't matter if you're a huge name, but if you're a great DJ and you play good music, that's all that matters, right? If the 100%. Party's going to be good. So who are some of the guys that are your residents that have been with you for years?
We've had guys that obviously me and you both know, from Daryl Privet, Sam Lashmar, Jack Cav. They've been with me for 10 years. Like coming up to 10 years, which is absolutely crazy. Sam started as my bongo player.
Yeah, love that. I remember.
It's crazy. And it's always, I think, like what we were saying, there's a misconception that so-and-so might not have a huge profile, so he can't play or he can't play. No, first and foremost, it's about the music. And for me, it's always been about the music. I'm a promoter. We'll sell the tickets. I want to book people that, first and foremost, are unbelievable DJs.
Yeah,
and just them, even just them 3, they're unbelievable. They're great DJs. We've had a couple of others join us as well over the last few years. Hayley Wallace, a girl I'm really excited about. She's amazing. We have Billy Cox plays with us for all the La Fiestas. Unbelievable. Listen, it's a great family. It's a great tight-knit family.
And I think that's important, right, when you're running a business, to have your friends around you, because ultimately when you're DJing at places like 338 and you're on the big stages at festivals, having your mates around you can only make it feel 100% better, right?
There's nothing better than being in business with your friends. There's nothing more than luckily my business partners are my best friends, and luckily the people that are employees, technically DJs or whatever, are my best friends. So it's an absolute, you couldn't ask for anything more, really, could you?
Yeah, amazing. And you've actually started DJing yourself now, right?
Yes.
So it's from selling tickets in clubs, from collecting glasses to organising festivals, now you're DJing. So you obviously keep some very good company with your DJs. So has that helped you along your way in terms of...
Do you know what? I always laugh straight away when anytime anyone says, oh, you're a DJ now, I just laugh because I just can't really take myself seriously. But yeah, do you know what? There's nothing better than... My best mates are the best DJs. So it's great company to keep for... in terms of when I was starting, to help me with music or help me learn little things, tricks, whatever. It's it's been great.
And I mean, you've had enough years in clubs to know what tunes work, right? And how to get a party going and how to read a crowd.
It's always been, that's always been the thing for me, really. Like, I know music to a T. I've always been that guy that I can hear people mixing in the tune and I'm singing it as soon as they're mixing it in before anyone even knows. Do you know what I mean? I've always been like that. And I love music. Obviously, I spend most of my time in venues. I love music. So it was just kind of in lockdown, bored, wanted to learn something, retrain. So and that was it. I just thought, why not learn? I've got a great platform to put myself on, express myself, because I own these parties and these festivals. It's a great way to put yourself out there. A lot of my best friends own a lot of the biggest brands as well. So if I am good or whatever, I'm sure they'll book me. So yeah, it was a great platform to build from, and I've played 338 twice now, which you played at as well, and you know it's amazing being on that stage.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's actually quite funny as well, is I was always just a saxophone player, right? And then during lockdown, because I own all of the sound systems and the decks from where I've got the wedding business.
Why not?
I had all this spare time, and my old man has a massive music collection. Thousands of CDs. So obviously we're talking multiple genres here, from 70s, 80s, disco, Motown, soul.
I've seen your USB,
yeah, so I think I've got something close to like 8,000 tracks. But during lockdown, I literally spent weeks organising the folders, actually going through, listening to music and sorting it so that any party I turn up to, it doesn't matter if it's a wedding, 18th, 21st, 40th,
You've got
50th.
Everything covered.
I can go into a party and play 6 hours Motown if I had to. Like, I'm covered for any party that I walk into, effectively. But I don't know about you, but when you're DJing, an hour will go like that.
So
it
quick.
Flies by.
Flies by. Well, I'm probably drunk, most of them as well. So that goes even quicker. But I remember getting on at 338, and I was literally so nervous because I was playing 6 till 7 on the terrace. So this was peak time. Well, I knew from my previous 338, I played 4:30 till 5:30. And by the time I come off, it was heaving. So I knew playing 6 till 7, it was dark.
Yeah, you were going to have a crowd.
I played 7 till 8. Sorry, I played 7 till 8, and I knew it's going to be rammed in it. So I was really nervous, and oh my god, that hour just breezed by. Breezed by.
And what a feeling it is, right, to be stood behind the decks at a club like 338 with 1,000 people in front of you.
Unbelievable.
Talk to me about that feeling, because
it was, that terrace is just sensational, and the screens with your name on it, playing big tunes, all your mates around you, jumping up and down.
And something like that, right, makes all of the stress and the graft of putting an event together
100%.
100% worth it, right?
I'm experiencing all sides. Like, I'm experiencing the actual playing, I'm experiencing putting on the event. Like, I'm so lucky to be able to do that. And I'm kind of going through that phase now of, like what you said, I weren't really taking it too seriously, but now I'm looking at it thinking, no, do you know what? Why not? Why not take it seriously? Like, I'm doing the folders, organising my music and all that, which does take a lot of time. But mate, I was sitting there at 348 in the green room, like 2:00 in the afternoon. Everyone's getting drunk. I'm just sitting there with a drink, my laptop out, doing music, headphones on. I thought,
planning your set.
I love it. Planning my set. I thought, like, this is great. I love it.
No, that's it. And like you said, with your experience in clubs, do you find it hard to switch off when you're at an event, knowing that this has to be right? Is the bar doing well? Are the DJs on time? Is everything going to plan? Or can you sit back at your events and just take a chill and actually enjoy it?
Do you know what? It's got a bit better now, because the bigger we've grown, the more staff we've employed, the more people that we've got there. So we could have up to 10 to 15 people at a big, like at 338. We could have 10 to 15 floor staff with La Fiesta, from door girls to artist liaisons to...
So delegation is a big...
Delegation's
part,
huge,
right?
Huge. That's probably the one biggest thing I've learned over the last few years is delegating, because there's only so much you physically can do, and not to get stressed and worked up about things, because things always go wrong. If you're putting on big scale festivals, if you're putting on big scale events, something is going to go wrong. But it's about having that calm mindset and knowing that you've been there, done it. It's all experience. Because once you've been there and done it so many times, yeah, things might go wrong, but you know that there's a pathway out of it, or there's this, or there's that.
I mean, there's always the risk of technical issues and
always
going wrong, but if you keep calm and just work through it and 100%. Have a good team around you, you can overcome most problems.
And the delegating is probably the best thing that I've learned, and the best trait, attribute, whatever, that I've gained over the last few years, probably from working with my business partner Paul.
Legend,
because he's older.
yeah,
legend, great guy.
Great guy. So he actually owns the Cinnabar
Yeah,
brand,
so he owns
right?
the Cinnabar brand, which is 3 venues in
And that's
Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire, yeah.
Brilliant venues. We do Hush there on the Fridays. Great. We're having 250 French people there on the Fridays. Unbelievable vibe. So yeah, just a little plug just in there. But yeah, he's probably the one that, from having an older head business partner that taught me to delegate, because I was always that guy that wanted to do everything. I want to do the artwork, I want to do the lineups, I want to make sure the production's right, I want to do that was always me. But sitting back, delegating, letting other people do things does open your eyes massively, and it helps you focus solely on the things that you are great at and the things that you are really good at, because that's what he said to me. He said, you are so gifted and you are unbelievable at so many things. Focus on them things. Get someone else to do these other things, because you're taken away from you. You don't need to do it.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
it is. That's probably the best thing that we've learned over the parties, and it helps you run a more successful party as well.
It turns it into a well-oiled machine, right? Once
100%.
you have all of the different parts working together, ultimately you have a better event and it runs smoother.
100%, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's the bigger that we've got, with the bigger festivals, the bigger events. It's getting to a point now at 338, we have got someone doing everything. I am sitting back in the green room having a drink, planning music, relaxing, which is a nice feeling, because at the social distance festivals last year, I'm the guy with the earpiece on, because it was me and Paul, really, a 2-man band with a team around us. But there was so much more than just running the festival. It was keeping 6 in a pod, or making sure that they're social distancing, or making sure there's so much more going on, with 10 council members walking around with notepads, watching your every move. It was
you've got
awful.
1,001 people asking you different questions. Can you do this? Can you do that?
Stressful, really stressful, but the best experience of my life. So,
and you must have picked up some pretty invaluable skills, even taking it even further back, going into Cinnabar in the early days. Talk me through some of, because when you took over Cinnabar, right, you've built a brand in there with Hush that, as you said,
Correct.
now has got hundreds of people regularly turning up. So what are some of the key marketing ideas that you brought to the table for a venue like that? What would you say, if you were running a bar now and, okay, maybe it's coming out of lockdown, it's not so busy, what would be some of your top tips on how to get a venue
busy,
operating to a sold out capacity?
It's a great listen. That's
obviously
a great
it's
question.
not as simple as it sounds.
It's a great
but
question.
What would
Do you know
be
what?
the first things that you do if you were to go into a venue?
Times have massively changed. Like when I first started parties, we used to print CDs, put a flyer in a CD, stand outside a venue at 2:00 in the morning, handing CDs out. We used to put leaflets through people's doors. We used to do. It was crazy. Obviously, digital marketing now is huge. It's a massive thing. My top tips, if I was opening a venue tomorrow, or when I went into Cinnabar, I always start from the basics. I always have. So we took over there Fridays. There was nothing really going on there. It was a bit of an older perception. People would go in there for a couple of beers. That was kind of it. I kind of strip it back, go back to basics, go, right, this is what we want to do. This is the style of event we're going to do. So we're going to do house and R&B. Stick to it. House and R&B, stick to it. You might get people come in, not like it. Stick to your philosophy and ride through it. I'd always go back to the basics of I'd build a good team around me. Say I'd have 5-6 core younger promoters working for me. I'd go to them, right, you all bring 10 people each. Have a table, I'll give you a bottle. All of a sudden you're starting to build a little bit of a base. So you've got your 50, 60 people base there, no matter what. Then you're coming down with 20 people, you're looking at 70 people. Say you've got a bit of a walk up, you're looking at 150 people. All of a sudden, if you've got them little bases that you build from, which I've always done with the Fridays, that's always been my philosophy, is book the tables out, whether you're giving them to girls for free, whether you're giving them to birthdays, guys, whatever. Book them out every week, build. Then all of a sudden, once you are booking great DJs, because our DJs are amazing, once you are booking semi-headliners, which we've got access to, luckily, from the contacts, you just build. Then all of a sudden, we're probably known now, the Hush Fridays probably are the best Fridays in the south of England, and that's not being big-headed. A lot of venues don't even have a Friday. Nowadays. It's so difficult. When we first started, what was there? Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays?
Yeah, like the
Sundays and Thursdays were huge.
There's been a huge change in clubbing and going out, I think, even particularly in this area of like West Essex.
Massive change.
I was very lucky starting my career back in the day. You had New Bar, Mojo's, Faces, 195. It would be busy a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. We were spoiled, really. There's so many places to go. And now, a lot of these local bars have kind of gone and disappeared. And there's very few that are actually
Mate, you're lucky,
left.
like I said, you're lucky to have a good Friday. A good Saturday. You're lucky to just have a good Friday and Saturday now. It has changed so much just for the fact that venues have closed down. I think the whole getting dressed up to the nines. I used to wear a suit and go to clubs. I used to wear a blazer and jeans and a tie and to go to Lux on a Saturday.
With the fashion trends, I
feel like it's changed. A lot of people, the whole standalone turning up to a nightclub at 10 p.m, it has changed a little bit. When I turned out, the one example I give to everyone is when I first turned 18, my 18th birthday, I went to Funky Buddha, I went to Aura, I went to 195, had a big table.
I think I was probably there. I think I was there for that.
You was probably there. People turning 18 now, they'll go La Fiesta or Printworks.
And go raving.
Or they'll go raving.
Yeah.
It's a completely different mindset. So you've lost quite a lot of custom to the new generation want to go raving. They want to be in these big sound systems, big clubs, big
And do you know what? I think they're almost quite a sport with these festivals in having access to these massive headliners on a weekly basis. Like being able to go to a festival like you're putting on and see the likes
100%.
of Richie Ahmed or some of the names that you've mentioned, Dimitri from Paris. In my time, like, you might have once a month there'd be a big event in London, whereas now it seems like there's events almost every week in London with a massive event. Yeah, big festivals. I think that's been the thing coming out of lockdown, right, is this whole festival mentality. Like, there's so many more of them now, of which obviously you've been a pioneer in this area. But back in the day, it used to be like V Festival.
Oh yeah, you'd have one.
Creamfield's up north, or
We Are coming.
Yeah, like V used to be the one big weekend, like where everyone would go to a festival, do the camping thing, and obviously it's slightly different.
It has
setup. Well, it wasn't just house music, obviously across the board, but
that's kind of our business concept with our festivals. It is offering brands that can do 2,000, 3,000 tickets, offering them an opportunity to come and do a festival, because it ain't easy. It's not easy and it's not cost effective to set up a huge festival site for one day. But if you're building a series of events, and one day it's drum and bass, one day it's La Fiesta, one day it's R&B, one day it's a hip hop event, one day it's a soul event, whatever. When you are doing that and you're spreading the cost and things like that, it does become cost effective for brands to come and do a festival, and that is the end game. When I first started events, everyone said to me, what's your dream? What is your dream event? My dream event is to host a huge mass event at the O2. That is my dream event. Like what Pete Tong does with the orchestra. That's what I want to do. That is my dream. That's where I want to be. And festivals. That was always it. Festivals. And I'm so lucky now that I'm ticking one of them off, and I'm trying to give other people the opportunity to tick it off as well. So with us behind the scenes and with brands coming together, it is kind of it's a great partnership. Yeah,
it's great. You're using your skills to bring others in as well and help them realise that you know what, you can actually go and put a festival on.
100%.
You've got some of the experience now to lend to other people to help them make that a reality as well. But as we know, it's not always easy to put on a festival, and the last year has been crazy. You've had ups and downs and
loads of ups and downs,
overcoming so many different things, from the various restrictions that are in place to staffing problems to, I mean, the UK at the moment's kind of under it, right, with staffing. Even at restaurants and things and local bars. From people I've spoken to, it's hard to just get waiters and waitresses and bar staff at the moment, right?
It's crazy. A lot of my friends that own restaurants, that own bars, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. They can't get staff. I don't know whether that's because of Brexit, things going on with that. Obviously, during COVID, a lot of people have probably gone back to homes. Like if you had people from foreign countries working, so they've probably gone home. Hospitality industry was not really looked after during the whole pandemic, so I think a lot of people weren't really supported. Yeah,
it was always kind of, we've spoke about it a lot on these podcasts before, is that it's interesting how all of the news articles would always start with nightclubs are still shut, or for some reason this whole nightclub thing was always pushed as like the main agenda, even though it does filter through to
crazy
everything else.
It's ridiculous.
Like nightclubs almost become the scapegoat in all of this.
Yeah, nightclubs were really the scapegoat.
And we're still feeling the effects of that now, right? It's like people's mentality towards going out and clubbing has changed, because I still think people are quite confused whether you have to have a vaccine or you need to be testing to go into an event, and all these various things, which
so many grey areas.
It's like we've been fed so many different messages. I think clubbing is going to take a while to recover. I think it will. I do think clubbing, it will. It almost moves in a certain way, right? When I was younger, I always felt that the clubs would start off, they wouldn't be busy, then they'd get promoters in and build a team and build nights, and gradually it gets busy, and that will happen for a couple of years, and eventually then the promoters go and the clubs do it in-house and it stays busy, then it goes quiet again, because you're kind of age groups of people. Cycle. Yeah, but like you do have certain age groups that go out clubbing and people get older, and then it transitions again and you get a new bunch of people, and it just keeps repeating. So yeah, I do think clubs will make a recovery. I think it's going to take a little bit of time.
I agree.
But I agree. I think it will get there in this country. It might just be slightly different to how it was before. Like you said, when we used to go out, we were wearing blazers and getting tables in clubs. Whereas now,
change. It's just a cycle.
Yeah, the whole brunch thing. Like I know from experience,
brunches are big now. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, that there was no such thing as a brunch when I was going out. When I was 18, there was no such thing as brunches. But a lot of girls, guys, whatever, like to do that now, because you can go out day drinking. You can wake up, go to work the next day.
What made you start promoting or getting into nightclubs, or what even made you start doing that?
Do you know what it was? So when I was 16 at college, I was doing business, and Mantra. So I went to college in Ware, Hertfordshire, for people that don't know it, and there was a nightclub called Mantra there. I don't know if you know it. Like it was like a really good club at the time. They had a Mantra and Billie Jean's, and I think they had a Billie Jean's in Epping as well. So I did an under 18 event there. So just like an under 18s event, I think it was 300 people, sold the tickets. This is the years of BBM and stuff like that. Like send out one broadcast message and it just sold like that. And I thought, bloody hell, I've just sold 300 tickets, tenner a ticket. My outlays, or whatever, say 50%. I've never had money like this in my life. I was doing something that I sent out a BBM message. So I think it was kind of getting into that. And then when I first turned 18, Faces in Hoddesdon was probably the premium club. Locally, and I was just really good friends with one of the DJs there that I went to college with, and he was just like, I do the Thursday nights, do you want to run a little guest list for me? And I was like, well, yeah, I don't mind. And he was like, look, I'll pay you £2 a person for everyone you get on your guest list. I was like, well, this is easy. I was putting 50, 60 people a night on a guest list. I was like, this is just like free money. And then I think it just progressed really from there. Obviously, I got quite friendly with the owners, who then advised me to start my own night, which I did, which was Hush. That's when that was born. And then one thing turned into another, mate, and it all kind of just started snowballing, really.
Yeah,
and
I
going from there. But that was the start. I kind of fell into it. Not really something that I always wanted to do from a kid, but fell into it, and I've not had another job since, ever. So it is, in 9 years, that is quite good to do something that is not really it's not something that you can just go to the job centre and we'll get a job in this. I mean, it is quite niche. And so that's how it all started, mate, really.
Yeah, this is one thing I've always spoke about of people who are self-employed like yourself, is don't you find that when you are self-employed and you're working for yourself and you have to survive off of doing this job and what you love, it does motivate you and push you to
100%.
It starts making you think outside the box on things that you can do. So from, as you said, running a guest list to then starting your own night where you're booking DJs, and it is events management is what you're doing. It's event planning, and then fast forward 9 years, the evolution of yourself, you're now doing festivals, but you've picked that up as you've gone along. You've not gone to a university and done a degree.
That's always my big thing that I've always said to people about, you can go to university and do event management, for example, and then I've always counter-argumented it and gone, but I would never have learned 90% of the skills that I've picked up from nightclubs, festivals, partners I've worked with, club owners.
Of course.
Anything. You would never pick up 90% of the skills that you learn on the job. And the experience is, you cannot buy the experience, especially in our industry. You cannot buy that experience, and people look on that. Even myself now as an employer, employing people, when I'm looking at people's CVs and things like that, a big thing I'm looking for is, have you done this? Like, have you turned up to a nightclub and there's been no one there? Have you bounced back from it?
You've got to take them losses, right?
You have to take it all. We've all been there. We've all done it.
We have all been there. We've all done it. We've put on events that have lost a lot of money. That's been one of the most humbling things, I think, that when you turn up to a club and there is no one there, and you think, well, I've even had it before. You turn up to events and I've even had a text 5 minutes before I've got there and said, "Oh, sorry, mate, there's not that many people there tonight.
We don't need you.
We don't need you." And obviously, it doesn't really happen so much now because when, for example, someone books me, they go through a booking process now, right, where they get sent an invoice and a contract.
Big events only now.
not just big events only, but I mean, this is something that I think it's important to recognise as a musician, is that you don't want people to take advantage of you, right?
100%.
So I think we can all be a little naive when we're younger and thinking, okay, yeah, everyone has the same mentality as me.
Again, and they're skills that you learn on the job.
Yeah, like I can never imagine not paying someone for a job I've booked them for.
Yes,
and then
quite strange.
But I think sometimes as a musician, promoters can sometimes take advantage of the fact that you're nice as well, and they think, oh, he's not going to mind if he doesn't get paid this week. But you soon realise as you grow a bit older in this, is that as much as we don't do this for the money, you still need to pay the bills. So it's important to have a business head on when you're starting off in this industry.
And I think people do remember a lot as well. Like, I live and die by the sword. I've never knocked no one, I've never not paid anyone, I never would. And you can even see from me, especially now looking at the Hush and La Fiesta stuff, my guys have been my guys from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my residents for Fiesta have been with me since Faces, Lux days.
Yeah,
it's never been for me to go round and go, oh, the new hot kid on the block or the new hot girl on the block, right, let's take them, let's embed them in. We've built such a good core team, and like what you said earlier, family with our residents and with the people that have grown with me, and they're unbelievable as well.
So Josh, quick fire round. I am an aspiring musician, promoter, DJ, singer. I want to get involved in the music industry.
Yep.
What are your 3 top tips for me?
My 3 top tips would be definitely listen to people, take advice on board. I think that's very important. I've learned, like what we was kind of talking about earlier, the amount of people that I've met over the last 10 years on the journey, majority I still speak to now, from the people that I've met from day one. Will always ring up people for advice, still now to this day. I've still got so much to learn. People might be watching this, looking at it going, oh my God, like, you guys are doing so well. I still look at myself pessimistically and think I've got so much to learn. I don't know hardly anything. So I think that is a good attitude to have. I'd also say build a good team. You're only as good as your team, and my team are amazing. I always refer to everyone as, we've got the Lionel Messi of licensing, I've got the Lionel Messi of QC lawyer, I've got the Lionel Messi of promotions team. You need the best people around you because it just levels you up as well, and you learn so much from them. So I'd definitely say have a good team around you. And the third thing I would say is don't ever be put off. Don't be put off by retrain and reskill. Don't be put off by find another career. Are you going to get a real job? You do a party and no one turns up. I've done parties and no one's turned up. Don't worry about it. Keep going, because if you've got something good, it will prevail, and it will. We've had La Fiestas with 5 people. I had a Hush at Lux with 5 people and then got offered a full-time job 2 days later. So just keep going, and never be put off by bad experiences.
No, I love that. That's very, very solid advice. And like you said, reiterating that point, you get a good team around you, you learn how to delegate, you don't get put off by the failures, because inevitably those are the ones that make you, right?
100%.
Without that learning curve.
And if anyone says they've not failed or done, they're lying.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Like, they're lying, because everyone has, unless you've just somehow miraculously just been thrown into a massive scale thing. I don't know, but yeah, everyone has failed. I've done it many a times.
100%. No, that's very solid advice, Josh. And just to go back on the point, as we said, this podcast was born out of the fact that we want to inspire the next generation, and
100%.
Anyone who has a passion for music, whether it's singing or DJing or working in hospitality or the creative arts, not just music, but anything that you have been put off because of the last year, because you think you're not going to be able to earn the money that you want to be able to live off, basically, ignore it. It's not about the money. if you have a passion and you want to follow it, go and do it. And I guarantee you, once you start on that journey, you'll find ways to reinvent yourself, like Josh has,
100%.
in terms of starting right at the bottom of the entertainment food chain, so to speak, running the guest list, cleaning bars, to growing his own brands and festivals, and who knows what's next. So there you go.
Thank you very much.
Very solid
Hope so.
advice.